Hello, my name is Jerry Kurtman, and today we're talking about the emergency plan and response briefing. Here in this debriefing PowerPoint, you will know the roles for each key personnel and how this plan will play out. The mid-sized city of Rockwell has received a 911 dispatch call of a truck incident. This truck was carrying a nuclear waste that was involved in a traffic accident in the middle of Rockwell. This accident led to a fire and explosion. The National Weather Service has called for severe weather, a possible tornado in the area. And the local hospital has an influx of flu patients that are in possible danger of the hazardous material and in the path of the tornado. Chief Johnson has placed me in charge of creating a response plan to create and share with all of you to protect those involved in the incident and possibly victims and bystanders in the surrounding area. Key personnel, which includes local government administration as well as emergency manager, includes the following: police, fire department, the public health, emergency response team, emergency medical services, emergency medical technicians, advanced medical technicians, paramedics, disaster medical assistance teams, the local hospitals, the utilities and waste management to treat the hazardous material that's on the road and everywhere else, government such as the National Guard, and non-government organizations such as the Red Cross and American Heart Association. Additional subject matter experts on the field. Here I will break down why each subject expert on this mission is key to everyone staying safe and effectively evacuating these dangers. Meteorologists and incident meteorologists. Here the meteorologists help with the scene and scene size up to determine how the weather will affect not only the key personnel's job on the scene, but also how and if the nuclear waste will be spread out by the rain. Incident meteorologists are different because they help keep the fire crew safe by enabling responders to the planned operations, considered one of the most variable aspects of the incident, the weather. They are specifically trained and certified to provide weather support at a fire on scene compared to a regular meteorologist. This is important as the tornado is heading towards the direction of the scene of where the spill happened. Additional subject matter experts and responders on the field. The fire department. Here the fire department oversees the extinguishing of the flame made from the truck collision. The FDA and emergency medical response team. Here they oversee that the flu patients are monitored at the hospital as well as safely evacuated from the local hospital in case of severe weather, such as the tornado that's in the path. Office of Emergency Preparedness. Here they oversee the cleaning of the hazardous material spill that has spilled from the truck onto the highway and other parts of the road. And the police department. They are the first responders who arrive on the scene. They do the scene size up and take account of what needs to be addressed immediately, of what's important, seeing if anyone was hurt on the scene, and potential threats that could be on the scene as well. Community personnel and decision makers. Community personnel involved in the incident action plan. These are a series of forms and supporting documents that convey incident commander's intent and operation sections. The decision makers would include the incident commander, the operations section chief, who is responsible for managing all tactical operations at an incident. Operations section also work and report to the IC, including public information officer, planning section officer, the logistics teams, and the finance administration section, as we've learned by now. These four subsections that work directly with the IC are also tasked with working alongside the operation and part of the decision making. The fire chief works closely with the chief or higher ranked officer who's in the field to brief each other who's on scene, how they will approach a scene, and debrief the personnel and experts on the scene. First 8-hour response plan, the development of the IAP. The first 8 hours should consist of the development of the incident action plan. These are used for strategic, operational, and tactical planning, including all steps that an incident command, unified command, and members of command, generally staff, should take to develop and disseminate. Begins with the 5 phases of IAP. Analyze situation, including future development, establish incident objectives and strategy. Therefore, developing the plan, prepare and dispensation of the plan, and then lastly, execute, evaluate, and revising of the plan. The IAP phase breakdown is into 5. The first phase is gathering, recording, analyzing, and displaying situation, resource, and incident potential. Secondly, I would formulate and prioritize a SMART incident objectives and identifying appropriate strategy to meet the incident challenges that lies ahead. SMART is the acronym for specific, measurable, action, realistic, and the time frame. Third phase is determining tactical direction and specific resources, reserves, and support requirements for implementing the separated strategies and tactics for operational periods. The fourth phase is preparing the plan to detail that is for implementing the separated strategies and tactics for operational periods. Fourth is preparing plan to include detail that is appropriate for the reveal of the complexity of the incident. Finally, the fifth phase. The fifth phase is expectation to execute and evaluate planned activities and check accuracy of information to be used in planning for operational periods. Lastly, I have my incident action plan chart. As you can see, we have the local hospital, which has all the emergency exits of which the flu patients will evacuate if in case, in fact, a tornado is in its path. We have the 2 collision vehicles, the tanker truck that was carrying the hazardous waste material, and the vehicle that you see on the key chart that hit the truck head on. Here at this intersection, we see the blockades blocking off all parts of the intersection so nobody else can go within the perimeter. We see the fire and hazardous symbol depicting of which areas are around the tanker truck that's spilling the hazardous material, which could be very well close to the hospital as well, which must be taken into account other than the tornado. We see the hazardous spill has gone everywhere besides the road. It can go off the road, off to the ravine, other parts of the highway, other intersections depending on where at on the road, and as I mentioned earlier, even in close to the hospital. Here, the firefighters stationed around the truck and the car, as well as emergency preparedness and hazmat, are there to help clean up the site and check on the local hospital if located nearby the hazardous spill. That was my presentation and my action plan. I hope you've learned a little bit more and recapped on what we already learned. That was my action plan. That was everything right here. Thank you for listening.